Hey guys, good evening everyone. It's just me all by myself with my emotional support. Hey, we're done now. We're done. As you can see, I'm stuck. I'm all by myself. I did survive the storms last night. Thank you guys so much for being flexible. Tom is still traveling back from Disney. And I was in charge last night, and Mother Nature absolutely had other plans. We had some terrible storms roll through. And so even though I kept power, it was not even going to be safe for me to be upstairs where my computer is. But tonight, rather than you guys having to listen to me awkwardly talk to myself, which I absolutely hate doing. I hate even the fact that I have to look at myself right now because no one else is here. I reached out to some good friends. You guys know that Star Wars is not my area of expertise. And so I reached out to my very good friend, Glenn, to come on and help me with the Star Wars content. And we have a very special guest backstage that I am so excited to introduce you guys to. So without further ado,
look, here comes an awesome guest.
Yay!
Hello. How is everybody?
I don't care how many times I hear that intro that Tom made. I get the giggles every time I do it.
I do too. Hey, Rapunzel.
It's so creative.
Hey, Rapunzel. So, for those of you that don't know, we have with us Glenn, obviously, and then our lovely Aisha, GeekXXChic on YouTube. I have to admit, so I have a 3.5-year-old at home, and I don't get to do anything. I watch a lot of Spidey. I recently got him into Star Wars. So I had not seen a lot of your content, and I just got a chance to start watching it this week, and it's awesome. I love watching your reactions. It's something that I've been able to just put in my ear while I'm doing other things. So I wanted to ask, how did you get into doing these kind of reactions?
Basically, I used to watch reaction videos myself back in the day, and then I realized I like to watch a lot of TV and talk about it, but you don't always have friends who want to sit there and listen to you talk about it or talk about it with you. So I was like, what a better medium than for me to get in front of a camera where I can just say what I want to say. And yeah, maybe people will watch, maybe they won't. But yeah, I've just figured I'm going to watch these shows anyway, and I like to kind of put my thoughts out there. So that's how it started. And yeah, I've been fortunate enough to get some really good shows that have some really great communities. The Wheel of Time community was really awesome, and they were great with the welcoming and just filling in gaps for me because I have not read the books, but I do plan to at some point. But yeah, that's kind of how I started. And yeah, I just am like, it's fun. It's fun to interact with people and find like-minded, thinking people through that medium.
Tom! Oh my gosh, I missed you.
Hey, Tom.
How dare you leave me in charge of anything technology
Almost
related.
Tom, he says. Have you always been a science fiction fan? Science fiction and fantasy fan, or is that new?
Those are the main genres that I've loved to watch, from I was a kid. I think some of my favorite ones to this day are still movies whatchamacallit, with David Bowie, Labyrinth, and I watched Neverending Story Labyrinth back in the day, and yeah, those are the kind of things where your imagination is stretched. I've always loved that. Star Wars I watched on TV before I even knew what it was about, but again, just love the idea of the galaxy. And it's, of course I had to rewatch it as an adult to understand a lot more of it. But again, just the world pulled me in, the Star Treks, things like that. So yeah, I definitely am drawn to things where it's the real world.
Who's your favorite Star Trek? Favorite Star Trek captain?
For the drama, Captain Kirk. For actually being a functional captain, I can't remember his name right now, but the one who did Deep Space Nine.
Cisco.
Yeah, I feel like he was the most. Yeah, but come on, no, the flair of Captain Kirk. You gotta love.
Kirk's great. I've been saying Benjamin Sisko's been my captain for years. At least after I watched DS9, it took me a long time before I started watching that show.
Nice. So, are you a reader too, or primarily you just like to watch fantasy things?
I am a reader. Just some of these like Wheel of Time I hadn't heard about till I saw that series, even though it's been around a long time. But I've read bigger anthologies, like all of the, for example, all of the my gosh, why are names just flying out of my head right now? The Lord of the Rings, like I've read all the things from Tolkien. You know, I've read the Harry Potter books. I've read, oh goodness, just a lot of those older anthologies I have done, but there's, you know, it's such a wide genre. And, you know, when you see something that's 8 books long or something and it's quite thick, you're like, I need to find out if this is worth me jumping into. And do I have the time? And I'm going to admit, as an adult, it's just, I feel like finding time to sit and read is becoming a challenge, but I'm trying to get back into it.
It's hard. It's on my bucket list every year to read more. Obviously, like before I had a kid, it was a whole lot easier to read than it is now. But anyone who steps into trying to read something that's 5, 6, 14 books long, like The Wheel of Time, is a huge.
I'm actually cutting back on how much I read because that's mostly what I do. I've been clocking 150 some odd books a year the last couple of years, so I need to. I can afford to slow down a little bit, but I also do audiobook. So I'm always listening, unless I'm watching something or talking to somebody or asleep. I've got a book playing in my ear, and I just pause it as I need, and then hit play. So I maximize my listening time.
Man, I can't. So The Wheel of Time, which I've read numerous times, I can listen to first time things, like things I haven't read before. I've struggled with audiobooks.
I'm 50-50. I prefer to, I don't know. I feel like it depends on the narrator. I should say that. Definitely depends on the narrator, but that's a good. I mean, I admire you, Glenn, because it's very good for your mind to keep more reading, and I've definitely noticed the effect it's had on me to not read as much as I used to as a kid. So yeah, I want to get back into it because while TV and movies are a great medium, it's not the same exercise for your brain, I think.
It's true.
Although I didn't read for a long time. There's like a good decade there where all I did was watch TV and YouTube.
That's unfortunately so common. Like I feel like I say older generation, I'm 40. Like I feel like we had a balance where we didn't have like all of this technology growing up. So we learned to read and enjoy books and stuff. The kids nowadays, like I push hard. We have a ton of books in my house. Like my husband and I are both avid readers because my son was going to be a reader no matter what, because I also love TV, but gotta have books. Hold on just a second. Sorry, he was yelling in the background. Do you have like a property that you were kind of a fandom, I guess I want to say, that you were a part of before you started doing these reactions? Like, were you a Star Wars person? Were you a Lord of the Rings? Was there anything that you were already kind of like plugged into before you started doing reactions?
Not necessarily, because I'm someone where like I'm not like so locked into something, so to speak. I just, if I like it, I like it. If there's a book that I like Lord of the Rings, but I'm also somebody that I find that I'm someone who I can take things in the medium they're given to me. So like when Lord of the Rings came out, you know, a lot of people were like, oh, you know, it's terrible. It's not the books, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's a different medium entirely. Like you guys are, it's never going to be page to, you know. So I appreciated it that way. And I found that kind of deviated me from some of the readers, because this was back, you know, we're talking about older, you know how it was on the internet back in the day. There was very small communities and they could get pretty toxic. So I was kind of like, I just want to enjoy these things, and I'm just going to do that and take it in as it is. I've been happy with most things, even with Star Wars, the amount of hate that episodes 1 through 3 got. I was like, oh my goodness, people like.
Or 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9 have gotten a lot of hate, especially Last Jedi.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's kind of me. Like if I love to celebrate with people who love it, but I don't get too deep into it because I find these days it just takes you to very strange places with some very strongly opinionated people. So I'm like, I'm just gonna enjoy it here. And if I find people I can chat to, like you know, yourselves, then that's great. But otherwise, you know, I keep my distance. I've been on the internet too long.
Yeah.
It's a long known truth that there's no fandom worse than Star Wars fans.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Star Wars fans, and I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm a diehard Star Wars fan, but we are the worst as a fandom. Now, the Wheel of Time fandom, on the other hand, is statistically the best fandom out there. Statistically.
Yes, statistically. I wish I had that. I wish I had that clip ready to go, because that would have been a good spot for that. Yeah, I got into fantasy and sci-fi really late. Like I liked Stephen King, but I grew up from the Midwest, and my grandparents were very religious, and so there was a lot of like, you can't participate in those like witchcraft type
No
things.
witchcraft, no magic, no. Yeah, same thing. My family was the same.
So I was 19, I think, when I started reading, and it started in an ice storm where I started reading The Wheel of Time, and then that opened up like all of fantasy and all of science fiction, not as much, but like all of fantasy. And then I dove on the internet and I found Dragonmount first, and those people were wonderful. And I was like, ooh, let me go try some of these other fandoms. And it was awful. I crawled right back into that hole at Dragonmount and have never left. And that's why I feel like there's just people out there are so mean and so gatekeepy. Like, I won't talk about Star Wars. Like, I'll talk to Glenn because I know that Glenn's not going to judge me when I mess something up and I don't know what I'm talking about. But I hate trying to talk to some people about these different fandoms because they're like, oh, well, that's not accurate. That's not the truth.
Yeah, no, it's you get some and also because like I play video games too, and I've been doing that forever.
Ooh.
So that's another very toxic community that you can get into as well. Like, especially if you're a girl gamer, right? It's the amount of.
I was just gonna say, I can imagine if you're a woman, it's got to be even worse.
Exactly. So I've just learned after a while, it's just kind of like, okay, if that's the way you are, it's like, all right, I'm not going to fight. I'm just going to backpedal out of here because some folks are just clearly very unhappy and they want everyone else to be unhappy. So I'm like, just go back and enjoy my fun stuff, and you stay over there.
What kind of games do you play?
Again, mostly things. I like RPGs. I like things with stories behind it. Shock. Longest I've been played is World of Warcraft. I've been on that game for over 20 years.
Wow.
That's crazy. But yeah, I've like all those types of RPG games. I love Dragon Age. I like anything where I have a story I can play through. But I also like cozy games. Like I got a Switch during COVID because I was in Australia and we were locked down in Melbourne. So yeah, people were like, my coworkers were like, "Are you on playing Animal Crossing?" I'm like, "What is that?" They're like, "Just get a Switch." So that's what I did. So I did Switch gaming, which was nice. But it's kind of a balance between.
Hey, Rosa.
Hey, Rosa. Well, shameless plug for Dragonmount. We are, for our Patreon members, we have some game servers where it's just because like I love to play. Tom and I both play video games too. He gets a lot more time than I do, but it's hard to go play some of these like online games in these fandoms. So we host some of our own servers that's like just us. We should have those up and running soon. So it'd be fun to play games sometime too. I still have to play Baldur's Gate 3. That is on my list for this summer. I have watched so much of it. I'm so ready to play.
I am ashamed of myself that like Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate, the one I just mentioned before, like the game studio used to be based out of my hometown in Canada. So it was like I had a lot of friends that I used to work with that got to beta test and stuff because they knew some of the devs that worked there. And there was like, well, the original Baldur's Gate, but they were like, you need to play this game. It's a Canadian game. I'm like, yes, one of these days I'm going to get on it. And it's an EA property now. But yeah, it was, I was very proud that from a tiny little studio, they had such big imaginations for that game.
Yeah, those are great
games. Yeah, I played Baldur's Gate 2 a lot and then just started playing Baldur's Gate 3 earlier this year. And I'm just play it too much. I play it too much. Seriously. I gotta
stop. It's a good game when you get immersed though. That's to me a sign of a good game when you don't even notice the hours slipping by.
We my husband is a gamer too, and so we try to play things that we can do together. And I have found that in recent years, like the couch co-op thing is kind of going away. There's not a lot of games that you can play like split screen co-op anymore. So I'm always looking for if there are new titles that come out that way.
I don't know if they do it, if it has a split screen feature, but Split Fiction is one of the newer. It does have a split screen.
I've seen some playthrough. It does have split screen.
Yeah, Split Fiction is a good co-op one for 2 players.
I'm gonna write that down. I think I mention this all the time. We are heavily into 7 Days to Die. Which is like zombie apocalypse survival craft kind of game, and they're getting ready to do a huge update for it hopefully the next few weeks, so we are going to start playing that. We're both teachers and this is our last like 3 days of work until summer. Nice. So we were counting down the minute. Barely it was close. Rapunzel wants to know, are you gonna stream it when you play?
I am actually working on learning how to stream. That is a new area for me. Like, yeah, I do. I got myself for the first time in 10 years, I got myself an actual tower, PC tower, because I've had a laptop because I moved around a lot. So I was like, I don't need a tower. So yes, I built my computer. It's pretty powerful. So yeah, now I just got to figure out how to get all those things like OBS and all that fun stuff set up so that I don't look completely terrible doing it. So
Well, I'm gonna voluntold Tom is really good at that stuff, and I'm sure that he would back me up when he was here, that he would help you. I've only had like Mac products and laptops for a million years, and we started doing this. He's like, look, we're gonna need to have a computer. And so I got my own computer this year. So hopefully we're gonna try to work on some streaming stuff this summer. Ooh, yes, see, Rapunzel, that's what I was thinking. Game stream tutors. I know a guy. His name's Tom. Hopefully he's here soon.
Rapunzel my channel will be playing Baldur's Gate 3 later this year. I'll let you know when.
Ooh. Yeah.
Nice. Exciting.
So,
yes, to your point before, I agree that I feel like game development in general has kind of slowed down a lot. I see a lot of people like this. The new Switch is coming out, and I'm seeing a lot of people complaining like, why isn't there a handful of more games and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, but who's making games? Like, it's not just them. PS5, barely any new games. Xbox, do they even make Xbox games anymore? Like, I feel like so many of these major game development studios are just not, and I don't know why, if it's the lack of money or what, but yeah, I think in general, outside of Steam, a lot of independent game people are trying to build games, but that's so time consuming and expensive. So I hope that it picks up again because I love gaming. I'd hate to see that die out.
I wish I knew a couple of game developers because I've got a game idea that I really need to tell somebody, but I'm not gonna share it over the internet though.
That's fair.
Get my pen and paper out. Yeah, no, actually, you just need to get to know some just of devs. Actually, I mean, you'd be surprised. A lot of these games that start up, you've just got someone who's got the story idea, and then they get someone who does the development, and then they find some other people to get like the voice acting if they need that, and you can make it come together if you've got the concept. You just need to find the right crew.
I did forget to say, because I'm bad at my job, that we are here to watch Andor season 2, episode 3, which is called Harvest. I have not seen much beyond this. I'm only, I think, on episode 6, getting ready to start episode 6 of season 2. I've been playing a lot of catch up. Glenn, we obviously know how familiar you are with Star Wars. How familiar are you? Like, what is your Star Wars knowledge level?
Me, I've seen all the movies. I've seen a handful of the shows. Like I've watched, obviously, you can see with my Grogu in the background, I have watched The Mandalorian.
Yes.
I watched the other one with, see, the names all go out of my head, unfortunately. The one where, yes, Boba Fett, I did watch that. My brother has been trying to get me to watch Ahsoka. I have not gotten onto that, but I have the idea of around the story. Yeah, that's kind of like, I understand the universe. I understand the major players that are involved, but when it comes down to some of the deeper fine details, like the Clone Wars and what's all behind that, and some of the other, like,
any of the animated.
Have you watched
any of the animated? Okay.
No, that's where like those kinds of things come in. So I have not gotten into those. But yeah, if you give me the overall arc of the stories, you drop certain names, I know what you're talking about. The timelines are fuzzy for me sometimes. Like, in this show, I've heard some names and I'm like, okay, this person, but I'm trying to figure out like where they fit in the timeline of what I've seen in the movies, but that kind of stuff is kind of fuzzy. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So like, I enjoy it, but what I say, I'm not the encyclopedia to ask. That would be my brother.
Well, that's why we have Glenn. That's why Glenn's here.
I'm usually fairly good at it. If no one was around, he'd probably beat me. But
that's true. Oh, it's Tuesday. We have a friend, Noman Garden, who is he keeps us in line. When Tom and I get things wrong, he always
he's our fact check. He's like the community fact checker for a number of Wheel of Time themed sites.
So I went ahead and put the teleparty link in the chat, and I dropped it in our private chat too. I'm now realizing that I probably didn't hit the button that doesn't allow you hooligans to not hit play. So everybody leave it alone. Nobody touch the button because I forgot to hit it.
Yes, behave.
Be good, children. Be good. Okay, I think
you'll be sent to Tom's office.
Yes. He will be very mad when he gets here. He will be very, very mad.
Yelling will ensue.
Okay, let's see if this is working. Sorry, guys. Can't do both at the same time. All right. Give me a thumbs up when you see it working. I will tell you that when you decide to jump into reading The Wheel of Time, like I would love to just talk to you about it and hear your reactions. I love first time readers. When I was watching your reactions to season 1 of The Wheel of Time, the only people I knew that were not familiar with the books who were watching it were my parents. And so I've like lived vicariously through their experiences through it. So it was just really neat to hear an outsider's perspective on the show. How far have you gotten? I only got through like part of season 1 of your
For Wheel of Time. Oh, I'm all the way caught up. Yeah, I knew because the spoilers start flying quick if you don't. And I'm on I'm on social media, but yeah, I'm all the way caught up. I have reactions all the way through the end of season 3. Need season 4 out immediately, so I'm sending those vibes out for them to hurry up and confirm that, because what are they waiting for?
You know, I am living, and this is not official, this is not sponsored. I'm living it. They're just negotiating how many seasons that they're going to give us. That's what I'm telling myself.
That would be nice.
In my brain.
That would be nice.
Are they going to give us 5? Are they going to give us 6? You know, how many are they going to give us? I am also going to drop your links here. So if you do not already follow Aisha over on YouTube, go give her a follow. Her videos are really fun. Did you watch The Walking Dead?
I did.
Okay. I thought I saw like on your little preview, like on your previews on YouTube. I love that show so much. And then I had a baby, and you can't put that show on when there's a small human anywhere in the room. And for a while I could like watch it on my phone while he wasn't around, and now he's 3.5 and he's real nosy, so he's always like, what you doing, what you got going on over there, like what are you doing? And so I have not finished the original series, and when I tell you I avoid anything to do like the plague, I avoid it. I still don't know what happened. I don't ever want it ruined.
Finish it up.
What's
and
your
then
time-
I highly strongly recommend watching The Ones Who Live.
Really?
Which is the spinoff. That's the spinoff that came off. There's several, but The Ones Who Live was
because I also watched Fear the Walking Dead, but I only made it up to like season 3 of that. So I'm very behind in this universe, but I read all the comic books, and so I was a huge fan.
But yeah, The Ones Who Live are about the main, like more the main, like it's not brand new people. I don't want to say more because it'll spoil stuff, but yeah, The Ones Who Live I recommend to watch when you're done, when you finally get there.
Hey, Crystal, you started you started it, right? What's your timestamp? Because I'm watching on my Disney. What's your timestamp?
Oh, I haven't started it yet. I just put up the link.
Oh.
I'll hit play.
Okay. I thought I heard you say you started it.
No.
Okay, never mind.
I'll hit play in just a second.
I thought I was behind.
No.
All right, let me know when you did. My mistake.
You're fine. Let's do it now. I will give you 3, 2, 1, and hope I have it muted.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Although I just realized, because I'm bad at my job, that I put it in another tab rather than another screen, so I can watch it or I can look at us.
You can drag that tab off the browser. If you're in Chrome, just grab that tab, drag it off the browser, like down, and then to the side to your other screen.
When I tell you that I am so hamstrung by everything in my life being a MacBook, it's ridiculous. It's utterly
ridiculous. You just made me remind that I can move it to my iPad because I'm on the Mac right now.
It's been, I had desktops and stuff when I was younger, and then I started working for the school district and they push everything as Mac, and I felt so stupid. I was like, Tom, how do I turn this computer on? Tom, how do I start this? What do I do? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm finally just relearning how to do this.
You got it.
Did anybody else get reminded of what's his name? Does Wayne's World? And when with that lieutenant, the really creepy lieutenant that was bothering Bix, he kind of reminded me of the guy who played Wayne's. Can't think of the actor's name. Wayne from Wayne's World. I can't think of his name.
Is the teleparty working for you guys?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm watching on my Disney.
it's not playing for me. Well, I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to set it. Ever since I pulled it out to the other screen, it's not working. It's just paused. Okay. Plan B. What's your timestamp, Glenn?
150, 151, 2, 3, 4.
It's really funny. Maybe Tom will know why. It's giving me the closed captions so I can read the closed captions, but it's not playing the video. It's not playing the episode.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I'll just pick it up on my
I love the TIE Avenger. Apparently well, I know it's never called a TIE Avenger on the show, but apparently the like all the media they've put out behind the scenes, it's called it a TIE Avenger, that prototype that he stole.
Glenn, I don't think you've talked about this. Where does Andor rank for you in terms of how much you like it?
It is the #1 Star Wars product ever created, in my opinion. And I go back to seeing the original in the theater when I was a kid. So
wow.
I've seen everything Star Wars pretty much. At least, especially everything canon. But this would actually, if it had one more season, it would be my favorite TV show of all time. If it had another season as good as these two have been.
Wow.
As it is, two seasons, isn't enough to topple The Wire, Battlestar Galactica, or Babylon 5. But yeah, I really love Andor. It's the Star Wars I always wanted as a kid. Well, I should say teen and 20 something.
Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
When you're in your 50s, that's still kid.
Hey, I'm inching close to 41, so I'll take it. I'll be a kid.
He's still a kid too.
Mm-hmm. I feel like a kid. My son keeps me young. He keeps me young. I have liked, so as someone who is not, I mean, I'm like you, Aisha. I've seen all the movies. I've watched some of the other things. Like we've watched a little bit of Rebels. I now watch what's the kids show called? Jedi Academy. That's now on in my house very frequently because my son likes it, but I don't know a lot. And I liked that Andor I didn't feel like I needed all of the story to jump into this. I felt like even a little bit with The Mandalorian, I needed so much more knowledge of like the universe to like really get into it. This, I didn't feel like that. Like I was just almost kind of a standalone show.
Yeah, it very much is. I mean, outside of its direct connection to Rogue One, it is very much standalone. And I think that's part of what's so good about it is you don't have to have a grounding in the Star Wars setting at all. You could introduce somebody to Star Wars, a grown-up to Star Wars with this show. And I don't think they'd have any trouble with it. Oh, I love Beto Emo. Too spot on of a name for a droid, but
I haven't been super impressed by the droids though in Andor. They're just kind of me.
Yeah.
They're functional. They're there clearly just for their role and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I really liked BB-8. Like that was a new droid and was very fun.
I love BB-8.
Mm-hmm.
R2's my favorite Star Wars character though.
I loved R2's attitude, but C-3PO, like, I'm sorry, the British disdain was like, he was just the way he'd just be like, oh. He was so posh.
See, my typical attitude towards 3PO is how most people feel about Jar Jar. 3PO just never sat right with me growing up or even as an adult. Jar Jar doesn't bother me the way he does most people. It's 3PO who gets to me. But I'm not somebody for loving 3PO. That's valid. That's perfectly valid.
I think it's probably because I grew up watching British comedies. Like my mom loves British comedy, so he just felt like he could have stuck him into Faulty Towers and he would have just fit right in.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's funny. My son loves
it. And it's also relative. He's a Star Wars character, so I still love him. But compared to the rest of Star Wars, I like everybody else.
Gotcha.
Do you
But for
have
me,
Not
it?
in
it's
the first
R2
season.
and then Ahsoka is my number 2.
Yeah, you've been wanting us to put that on the rewatch list.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
and I wonder if this is the planet Ahsoka visits in the Ahsoka novel that she was living on for a while, because this farm reminds me of it. This farming place. That's one of the few of the canon books that I've read. The newer books. I've only read a couple of them. I've watched pretty much everything except for the Young Jedi Adventures that your kid loves. And I haven't watched any of Visions, except for the very first episode of Visions.
It's cute.
And
I think it's a good introduction to like what Jedi are. Like he hasn't, I mean,
Yeah.
he watches cartoons. He's a Disney kid. He watches a ton of Disney stuff, but he didn't have like a lot of like fighting things that I let him watch. And so this has been a good little introduction to it. Between the lightsabers and Maui's hook, it's a little bit dangerous around here sometimes, but
Yeah. I can imagine.
Just gonna say
I
about the
also
scene
haven't
that
seen
was
any.
just on. I just really loved how they showed how much the people on that that planet were really looking out for Brasso and Bix and everyone, considering that they didn't know everything. Obviously, I think they knew that they didn't know everything about them, yet they still were like willing to risk the the Empire for them.
Yeah, it's telling of the kind of people they are. I find it so strange, the relationship in this the Mothma family, that the traditionalist is the daughter. The daughter is the one who wants to do all the old traditions and customs, and I'm like, that's not the way it usually goes.
I feel
it really
like
depends.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I kind of, at least in the Midwest right now, I'm seeing some of that, like almost a resurgence of some of the younger generation being a little bit more traditional than their parents.
I don't know how much of it really is
generation.
tradition for her, so much as it is the stability of it, right? Because you got to remember the Empire's a master of spinning things the way they want, and so anything rebellion like has been demonized to the ultimate extent, right? So I think I look at her more as like, this is safe, this is good. Like, maybe I don't agree with everything, but it's safe and I know it, and kids usually really value that above chaos.
That's a good point.
Good point. There's also a little
I
bit
think
of
she says
teenage
it's their mom.
rebellion too.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Genevieve O'Reilly has just been amazing in this role. She first got cast 20 years ago for Revenge of the Sith. I think it was for Revenge of the Sith. I don't think she was in Attack of the Clones, but they cut her from Revenge of the Sith, and there she's only in the deleted scenes on the DVD sets.
Yeah, that's another thing. There hasn't been really any of the acting in what I've seen so far that's been bad. Like, I think this show's another one that's really well cast.
Yeah. I've been trying to figure out which show I think's had better acting this season between Wheel of Time, this, and The Last of Us. Because The Last of Us has been killing it too. Yeah, and The Last of Us has been killing it.
No.
Hey, Gnome.
Thank God you're here. You left me, and Tom left me. It's been a mess.
Gnome, you can fact check me.
We are about 9 minutes and 50 some odd seconds into
I got 10:47.
You're at 10:47. Okay, I'll jump forward.
10:50. She's just about to walk over that branch.
Yeah. What is your feeling of, how Mon's daughter said that, the boy has been acting very strange, like he doesn't want to talk to her, doesn't really want to interact with her. What do you think his viewpoint is of all this? Do you think that his dad has said anything to him or given him any type of instruction? Because it's very odd that he's, up to where I've watched anyways, that he's been very quiet in this whole thing, that we've seen nothing of his thoughts, but he seems like he's not happy.
Yeah, I do get the impression he's not happy. I mean, I don't think he's as keen on the idea of an arranged marriage as his bride-to-be is. At least that's the impression I got.
I mean, yeah.
That just could be that's just me guessing why he's got the look on his face that he did.
Mm-hmm. I definitely got the impression that he's just being told to like toe the party line. Like, this is you just have to do this. There's not really any option. Which is also kind of the thing with arranged marriage in higher, like not that I know anything about being royalty, but but that's always the impression that I've gotten is there's not a lot of personal choice in it. It's for
I gotta say, I love this blue outfit that Perrin's wearing.
The costuming in this whole wedding thing was amazing.
I would totally wear that at a Star Wars I would definitely wear that outfit as a cosplay at a Star Wars convention.
Do you go to any conventions?
I've gone to a couple of cons, like I went to Dragon Con and I went to BlizzCon a while ago, but that's pretty much it. I've always tried to get to San Diego Comic-Con, but those always sell out. I never seem to get in.
We've tried that as well. We've never been able to make it happen.
These two together, Dedra and Cyril together as a domestic couple is just terrifying. Both terrifying, but also adorably cute. Because it in a weird, terrifying kind of way. Yeah, I think they're kind of cute as a couple. It just, at least at this point, and yeah, they're perfect for each other.
I mean, I get it in one sense. I get why people see it that way. I guess for me, I find it unhealthy because it's so clear to me that Cyril is super repressed and that he actually doesn't do well with domineering women. And I feel like he's only with Dedra because that's what he's been used to with his mother, not because it's what's good for him.
I get that.
And that's not Dedra's fault.
Everything they're doing is, nothing they're doing is good for them, though. But yeah.
She's such a trip.
She is just something else. But I like seeing the humanization of Imperials. Imperials. Yeah, we would see faces on some. The ones that had speaking lines, we'd see faces, but they were mostly just nameless or paper, cardboard cutouts. And here we've got fleshed out characters that, whether we like them or not, we feel for them in some way or another. Whether negatively or positively, they're not just decoration like most Imperials end up being traditionally.
Oh, true. Hey, there's my bestie.
Hello, friends.
Yay. Hi.
Sorry, I'm late.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here.
Yay. Our 2.5 or our normal hour and 15, hour and 20-minute drive turned into a 3-hour drive.
Why?
Just traffic. We left a little bit later than we wanted to. So we were at Disney. We were at Disney World. We left a little bit later than we wanted to, and we ended up hitting rush hour traffic coming out of Orlando and then rush hour traffic coming out of Tampa.
Yeah.
But hello, friends. Hi.
Hello.
Glad you made it.
Glad you made it.
Me too. I was sad that we weren't that I wasn't gonna see you yesterday. But then when I was secretly happy when Crystal had to cancel, because then I was like, oh, I'll be home Tuesday, so I get to hang out and see everybody.
It all worked out how it was supposed to. I did manage to break my own teleparty though, Tom. I can't. Yay. It's apparently working, but it's just giving me the subtitles and sitting on the opening screen, so I'm watching it on my phone.
All right. But it's working for everybody else right now?
I can see it. I don't mind starting it again though if you want to.
I'm watching on my own. I'm not watching through the stream through the thing.
I'm not touching it because it's working for everybody else. I just put it on. But how was
it? It was good. Send me the link in the chat so I can connect too.
Oh, I can't remember if it's been talked about on the rewatch, Dragonmont's rewatch, the actor who plays Clea right here, Luthen's assistant, it was literally her first job outside after graduating from drama school.
That's cool.
That's
Literally,
cool.
the first job she had was acting across from Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm like,
That's gotta be intimidating for sure.
Yeah,
It's like Orlando Bloom getting Lord of the Rings right out of same thing. He was fresh out of drama school too, and then he gets this epic trilogy.
Fucking Ian McKellen, fucking wow.
Elijah Wood,
John Rhys Davies. Can't miss John Rhys Davies. Christopher Lee.
I was like, Christopher Walken. I'm like, that's not it, brain. Shut the fuck up, brain.
Oh my gosh.
Space fondue.
Sorry, this scene cracks me up so much because I swear Edie is doing, like, I think Edie knows that Cyril has a little bit of OCD, just a little. Yeah. And she's purposefully being messy because she knows it's making him insane.
I could see that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she just knows how to push his buttons.
100%.
Love, but
so you might have answered this already. But what, like, do you have a generation of Star Wars you prefer, or do you like the old school movies? Do you like the prequels? Do you like the books? Do you like the video games? What is it about Star Wars that you like?
I think I just always have liked the way it stretches the imagination, and also the character studies that it does on the films. Like, I think the first 4 movies, which is 4, 5, and 6, will always be special to me because that's what drew me into the universe. But I loved 1, 2, and 3 though, because we only got to see in 4, 5, and 6 what Vader became. And I remember watching the very last movie and being like, okay, so now we're just going to forgive the fact that Vader stalked you over the universe, and like, just because he's your dad, like, I was very young, of course, but I was like, that's terrible. But then when I saw like 1, 2, 3, I was like, oh, okay, like, it's making more sense, like this path that he went on and how things went sideways and how easily it could have been that way for Luke and other people too. So anyway, I do like the older ones. I have not read the books. I have not played the games. But I just kind of like watching the movies and the shows that interest me, because I think the world's a lot of fun, and the fun that they get to have with, again, it's mostly character studies. Like, even though we have aliens, we never really get into like how the races are different. Although I really like the Acolyte because it was kind of testing those waters with the space witches. I'm so mad it got canceled. But
I know, me too.
Yeah,
I really wish they would stop. And okay, so something that I say a lot, I've said hundreds of times on lives and at conventions, and I've said it to panel rooms full of Star Wars fans, that the Star Wars fandom is probably the worst fandom I've ever had to interact with in my life.
We talked about that.
Yeah. And one of the other quotes I love, I forgot where it was coined, but it's definitely not mine. I've heard it a million times over like the last 20 years, is that the people that hate Star Wars the most is Star Wars fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And obviously the fucking neckbeards and racists and misogynists and stuff like that over the last, whatever it's been since they came out with the first Rise of the what was it, right? The Force Awakens, the first one.
Force Awakens.
Since that one came out, there's all of them have creeped out of the woodwork, but I haven't really seen any legitimate criticisms of Acolyte. And my favorite part of
I could supply them for you, but I don't
we'll talk about that after Andor. But the one thing that I thought was funny was specifically how one of the things that the neckbeards complain about is stop shoehorning minority characters into Star Wars or changing people's things. Just make an original thing and your own. Then that's what they did. They made an original story. And you still complained about that shit. Like, fucking. Not that I want to make them happy, but nothing will make them happy. Obviously, they just want to complain.
They
just
want
show their
a
true
story
colors.
that's very much the same. Like, they complain about it being the same, but when it goes differently, they complain as well. Yeah, I agree with you. I I mean, don't get me wrong. If I've seen some people say, okay, they thought that some of the acting in The Acolyte was weaker, and I'll agree with some of that. Some of the characters were not necessarily what I consider compared to Andor, for example, but it was by far like it deserved another season. I think it was so
Yeah,
interesting, the
I agree there.
storyline we could have pursued. We were going to drop a lot of the people from the first season anyway. Like it just, there was so much potential. But yeah, these are the people who's forced John Boyega to hate this fandom and hate this whole franchise to death and stuff. And it's sad.
Like John Boyega, at least like he hasn't had it as bad as like Ahmed Best and Kelly Marie Tran and fucking Jake Lloyd Wright and stuff like that. And maybe he has, but like, you know, he's been able to take it a little bit more in stride, and it hasn't like affected him personally like it has them. Like Ahmad Best, and trigger warning a little bit, Ahmad Best tried to commit suicide. Jake Lloyd Wright tried to commit like he was a 10-year-old kid and they were sending him death threats. Like what the fuck, dude? Like listen, it's not acceptable to send that to anybody, but a child actor? Like you think this kid made any of those choices? That kid didn't make any choices with that character. He was a kid.
That's crazy. You could just not watch it. And it's so funny considering that George Lucas is so the opposite of these people who've gravitated to his work. Like he created this for the sake of creating opening doors, and they're like, no, keep them closed.
Like they're all like, oh, Star Wars is like in the second season of Andor. So in the first season, the allegory of especially current times is present in the first season, but it's a little bit more layered. Now, not that I'm not saying that this is bad. I think it's great the way they're doing it in this season, and I think it is like it needs to be done more in media. But they are hitting you over the head with it. The allegory in season, they are quite literally spelling it out. Like in the first two episodes, were one of the overarching themes in the background was illegal immigrant labor being used as cheap labor by a corporation while the government knows about it, but lets it happen because the corporations need to do that to keep prices down. But then the government comes in and abuses that cheap labor because they can get away with it. Like that's not even like an allegory. That's just straight up what's happening.
Life
and people have the nerve to say, I don't want politics in my Star Wars, but they don't. They don't understand it was there from the get-go.
Yeah.
It's like people complaining that Star Trek has gone woke. How can Star Trek go woke? Star Trek kind of almost defines woke.
Yeah.
Glenn, one time I went to go see Roger Waters' The Wall, and when they put up all of this like anti-Cheeto energy, people got up and walked out. And I'm like, have you never listened? Like, do you not know what any of this? Like, got up and walked out of the stadium when that came up. And I'm like, have you never listened at all one time? Like, people see what they live like this, and they see what they want to see. And
I almost beyond that. Like, not that I want to hear these people be honest, but I almost just want them to be honest. Like, just be honest already. Stop making up these weak arguments and just be honest so that we can just shuffle you off to the side and be done with you.
Well, Tom, has there been any of the new Star Wars that you didn't like?
It's hard. You know, I mean, honestly, over the last 10 to 15 years, I've stopped looking for things I dislike about stuff, and I try to focus on the things I like about stuff. So there hasn't been a lot that I've disliked in media generally. I just don't watch it. Like, I mean,
what a concept. When you don't like something, just don't watch it.
I love science fiction and I love fantasy, so there hasn't been a lot of it that I haven't liked, to be honest with you. Okay, I'll give you this. There's some that isn't good. Like, it's not good TV. It's not good. There's been plenty of stuff that wasn't good acting. There's been stuff that wasn't good writing, but like I still enjoyed it because it's Star Wars. Like,
I watched both seasons of Wink Saga, and it's terrible, but it's fantasy and it's fun. So I'll just watch it. Would I recommend it? Not necessarily, but if you need to turn your brain off for a few hours.
Yeah. I mean, even the stuff. Exactly. Even the stuff that's like not great, like not even not great, not good, but it's entertaining. I consider it like candy for your brain. You know, it's like junk food for your brain. Every now and then you need to have a little junk food for your brain, you know? Like I've watched in its entirety Trailer Park Boys. It's not a good
Never watched
show.
Wow.
Canadian gold right there.
Yeah, but it
I
was
watched I watched every episode of every DCCW show for the Arrowverse.
okay, but the
And
Arrowverse
some of
was
those
legitimately
shows weren't really that good.
Arrow started
Not
out
gonna
well,
spoil
went
it.
to hell because
Yeah,
of
Arrow started
certain
out
ammo.
well, but
no
Arrow
I
and
think
Flash
Flash
both
also
started
started
out.
out well, went to
Yeah,
hell
I liked-
after they
Yeah.
lost the plot. Black Lightning could have been great until clearly some
Oh.
people who had no idea what they were doing entered the writing room.
Supergirl was my favorite.
Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Legends
I
was
love
good.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh man, there's a really funny when you said Black Lightning, I thought there's a really funny TikToker that goes to conventions and always asks people name 5 black superheroes that don't have lightning powers. And people stutter for a few minutes until they remember like them, but it's funny watching them do that, because then you realize, wow, there are quite a few that have lightning. Most of them have lightning powers. That's interesting.
Never thought of that.
That's true.
Yeah. No one and half the time no one mentions Blade, and it makes me very angry.
Like Wesley Snipes did not
My
work
first
that
was
hard for so
T'Challa.
many years
I know, man.
to be
Fucking
forgotten like
Blade.
this.
You're not ready to roll with this? You think this is a game? I love that. I know every Blade movie by heart. See, there's another one. Blade 2, not a good movie,
No,
Not as
But-
good as 1 and 3.
but
the Hobbit
still a lot of
movies
fun.
are
Blade 2
not
is a
good
lot of fun.
movies.
Yeah.
The Hobbit movies
They
are
should
not
just-
good movies, but I'll watch them. I'll watch them anytime they're on.
Well,
They're
yeah, I
still
mean,
fun.
yeah. So I mean, there's very little. Back to Star Wars though. So like a lot of people didn't like Solo. I loved Solo.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of I mean, there's plenty about the new trilogies that I didn't like. Like, I don't like Rey and Kylo being a thing.
Mm.
It should have 100. It should have been Finn and Rey 100%.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like the way people will argue with me about that, and I'm like, argue with the wall. It was
Yeah.
weird. It was creepy, and it made no sense. They had zero chemistry.
It was a little gross.
Sorry.
It felt like brother and sister. It was a little gross. I felt more dirty watching them kiss than I did watching Luke and Leia kiss anytime I've ever seen them kiss.
I liked how their relationship was through till the end of The Last Jedi. But the way JJ handled it in The Rise of Skywalker is where I lost it. I'm just like, no, it should have been a failed relationship that almost happened, but didn't. And yeah, I do think her and Finn would have made good sense, or her and Rose.
Okay, I have to say this one thing as this scene is up on the screen here. Willman, like, love him really, but I'm going to need him to use the brain that's up here because
He's letting his heart rule him a little too much, and his brain and his pants rule him a little too much. It's either his pants or his heart, in the sense of like revenge and like, you know, stuff like that drives him to make bad decisions. But I guess he's
feel
young.
Yes, and I feel so bad because of the one part, like I was yelling it in this whole episode, like, bro, what are you doing? Like, no, you should know better. But at the same time, you know, I'm looking and I'm like, but then there's Cassian who's got Bix, you know, so it's kind of hard to tell someone like, okay, he's got someone who's an emotional support in that way. You can't tell him to be like, no, you be a monk.
Yeah.
But also kudos to Bix, her observational skills.
Oh yeah.
Top notch. I love how they were showcased
Bix
in
is
this
awesome.
episode.
Yeah, they're both like her and Cassian. I don't want to say that like they're the same person, but they have very similar like abilities in being able to, like, you know, like as a spy, they can pick out characteristics about people really quickly and be able to kind of lean on them and use them. And she uses it as a defense mechanism, which is, you know, obvious. And
hers is go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go.
No, I was gonna say the Bix to me is more like she's more of a situational awareness person. Like she'll feel uneasy because she knows something's off, and people will tell her it's fine, and she's like, nope, like I know something's going on, and she won't let that go. Whereas Cassian is, to me, the people reader, like you said, like he can see who he can press, who he can use. Where I feel like Bix is not as good at that. Like her face gives away a lot before anything else, whereas Cassian can lie as easily as he breathes. So yeah, but they work well together though because of that. You get her situational awareness with his people skills, and that's a dynamic duo.
Yeah, and obviously she's freaking like some sort of mechanical genius too. She's doing all of the communication stuff, and the repairs and things. I love one of the things I've loved about just media in general over the last 10 years is they've stopped brushing off trauma and things when they happen to our heroes. They make it affect them, and
that will be one of the things that will drive you crazy about the Wheel of Time books if you read them, is that their trauma is not addressed very much.
It's better than
it is.
It's better than
not by today's standards.
No, not by today's standards.
No.
For 1990, it was.
It does affect the characters, though. The trauma does still affect it. Just Jordan doesn't say, "Hey, look, this is what this person's gone through," so they feel terrible about this. No, he doesn't do that.
Yeah,
but you still see the effects of things that happen.
Somewhat. But the other part is like specific. I mean, you've just seen the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in a lot of ways, I think the show has rehabilitated a lot of the character story arcs that were a little more toxic. Specifically, Perrin. Like, so Perrin in the books is more like one of those like overly chivalrous, like, oh, I have to take care of the women because they're weak and small. And like, even when his wife, Fail, she's very similar in the books, is telling him like, I can take care of myself. And she displays that she can take care of herself. He still does that because it's like, you know, that's who he is, quote unquote. And he's a big guy and he, you know, he doesn't want to hurt people. And he's always that's why he's so gentle and anti-violence, because he's afraid to hurt people. And I just felt that was so weak and disingenuous. Giving him that trauma, like, don't get me wrong, they 100% fridged Layla. Like, that's what happened. But I feel like in this case, that was the best way to do it in such a short amount of time. Like, what was it? Like altogether 4 minutes of screen time for Layla. And they've framed Perrin's entire character arc in how he responds to Fail later on and his dichotomy between violence and nonviolence. Like, I thought that really framed that for him really well. And that's a great difference between the books. If I hope when you go to read them, you know, you'll see that pretty quickly with Perrin, specifically Perrin. But I think they do that well with a bunch of the characters. But for Star Wars, like specifically the last, you know, this show, Acolyte, Mandalorian, and even the you know, the episodes 7, 8, 9, I think they did really, specifically with Rey, like the stuff with her parents. That affected her character so much, being, you know, an abandoned orphan. Like, even toward the end, she was still fighting against the truth because she wanted it to be a loving family that left her behind. And like, she would find them one day. So she was ignoring a lot of the stuff happening around her because she was still focused on that thing. And that's a trauma response. And like it's greatly affecting her story. And it could have killed her. It could have gotten her killed. It could have ruined the whole resistance. And that's a really interesting dynamic for her. So I like what they've been doing with Star Wars a lot. I'm glad, like, don't get me wrong, Kathleen Kennedy did a lot of work, but Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are great writers, and they hire amazing directors and amazing producers to do this stuff.
Oh, I threw into the
Space
chat.
Techno.
Yeah, I love the music. The music too has been fantastic.
Disney's YouTube channel a couple weeks ago posted a 1 hour of Mon Mothma dancing loop.
That's fantastic.
And that's literally what it is. So I
hilarious.
posted the link there in the chat.
Well, that was kind of the best part of this episode. And I kind of joked about it when I was reacting to it, but I'm like, the fact that she basically at that point was like, fuck it, I'm going to get drunk. My world's falling apart. Okay.
So trigger warning for anyone who hasn't seen this episode, which is probably hard because it's a rewatch, but there is going to be a attempted sexual assault in a minute. So just in case anyone is unaware or wants to switch off or mute and minimize the show for a minute, you can.
I was going to also add on to you that
this
I
is
agree
the
with.
actor I was saying reminds me of the guy from Tom.
Oh,
Who did Wayne's World? Who did Wayne's World?
Wayne's
That's
World?
The actor. Yeah, who's the main actor from that?
Mike Myers?
Mike Myers and
Mike
Dana.
Myers. Thank you. This guy reminds me of Mike Myers for some reason.
He does. He looks like a young Mike Myers.
Yeah.
I could see it.
In like that
was the name I couldn't think of earlier. I'm just like,
Tom,
right
I
there.
did notice in this episode, there's not a lot of great doors, but there's a lot of really pretty doorways.
That's fair.
In this episode.
Oh, I got to put together my Doors of the Wheel of Time loop. I kept pointing out really nice looking doors, and I'm like, I want that door in my house so bad. Like especially in the White Tower. They always have really nice doors in the White Tower. This guy is so greasy. Oh,
yeah, well, seriously, my hackles went up from the very first conversation. This actor did a great job of setting off every warning bell that a person would have.
Oh yeah, it's like red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag.
Mike, you shouldn't be that good at acting, sir. But but yeah, what you were saying about the going into the PTSD, I think that's so important because that's been one of the biggest complaints from some of the more toxic fandoms in the last little while is like, why are we spending time like Disney with Moon Knight, for example, or WandaVision, which were both all about trauma and how people deal with it. And I'm like, but mustache twirling villains are so, to me, boring. Like, oh, I'm evil because it's Wednesday. Like, no one is like this. That's human, right? Like, we need a reason. Like, show me their path because, like it's usually a path until something happens, and just because of a set of decisions, you're now a villain. So I want to see these things. Like, we understand better why people do what they do because of the trauma that they're responding to, if that's the case. So I agree in that. I think it's such a good source of storytelling outside of course, pew pew and explosions.
Yeah, the specifically for like we'll talk. That is a huge vein in the distinct differences between the Wheel of Time book villains and the Wheel of Time TV show villains. But like in the same like in the same direction, you're saying like they make them much deeper and more interesting in the show. In Star Wars, though, one of the things that I think they've done very well is like I remember when I was a kid. And I watched, Empire Strikes Back. I mean, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back for the first time. I was like, oh, Darth Vader is so cool. He's in this awesome black armor. And he's got a red lightsaber, and he's got the deep voice, and everyone's scared of him, and he's choking people. Like I remember as a little kid being like, Darth Vader is awesome, and like they make the Empire look cool. And even though they were evil, they didn't really display how grotesquely evil they were on a personal level. So like a lot of people were able to kind of dissect it on a macro level, like, oh, that's the government, that's their overarching thing. Or even some of the more toxic people were like, well, maybe Alderaan should have been blown up and stuff like that. But when it's stuff like this that's happening right now, like on a micro level, and it's personal and you can see it, and this is just one Imperial officer on one planet in one building, and there's hundreds of millions of them across the galaxy ruling totally, doing whatever they want, and they do it in such a way, and specifically in this season of Andor, that I think was great in showing like making people not want to not like the Empire,
or see that why there was a rebellion, right? Because a lot of times rebellions are painted as, oh, these are angry people, they're doing things for rebelliousness sake. But when you see exactly at the micro level here, then up to for what I've watched up to episode 7, the larger scale, and how intricate it is, like that's when you start to realize like this is the intrinsic issues here. This is why we need checks and balances. This is why they fear having the Jedi, who absolutely want to keep a level of balance where that's concerned. So yeah, I think it's good that they're doing this. And
that was an interesting sound that he made when he got hit in the face with the wrench.
I mean, I feel like it's pretty real.
Yeah.
That would hurt a lot.
I'll take it.
But also the guy who's outside, who's like literally he knows this is going
sleeping.
on, and he's taking a nap.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they make it. I gotta see it again because I only watched this episode twice, but I want to see his face again. I felt like he was almost under. Yeah, I know, right? I felt like he was like understanding for a minute. Like it seemed like he didn't. Like he was like, yeah, that guy's a douche, and I know that he does that, and I'm glad you killed him for a sec. But then he was like, no, but they're gonna kill me if I let this go. Or I couldn't tell if that's what he was doing or if he was still a dick. Like I don't remember.
No, I believed him when he said he's dead now. Like you can come out. Like let's de-escalate this because he could have just started firing at her. Right?
Yeah, you're right.
But you're right though that the power thing is that then they would have asked him, how did you let your superior get killed? Right. So it was kind of a no-win for him.
Yeah, there's the aspect right there. Like, this guy, maybe he wants to do the right thing, but at the same time, that'll get him killed. Like there's a platoon of stormtroopers coming, like he can't stop them. So, they put these, it's such a real thing. You know what I mean? Like they put them in these real feeling situations. Yeah. And then here's our guy. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Everybody with stormtrooper aim until the last minute. Just blasting everywhere. Poor Bix, though. She went through a lot this season.
Yeah. She went through a lot last season, too.
Yeah.
Oh,
that the recording she was made to listen to was...
So the music just reminded me again. I wanted to mention it before. I got a link I got to share with you guys. So there's a song that they sing in one of the newer episode 7, 8, or 9. I forgot what it is. It's a Jabba the Hutt song. It's a song that they're singing to Jabba the Hutt, and it's an alien singing it. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda singing it.
What?
In Huttese. He's singing it in Huttese. Yeah. And he was at Hamilton like a few years before Rise of The Force Awakens came out, and that was when they announced that he was going to do it, and J.J. Abrams just happened to be in Hamilton, so he came out and they sung it on the street in front of the theater at Hamilton with like a couple of the band members that were playing the music in Hamilton came out and played the music, and Lin-Manuel just sung it in front of the theater on the sidewalk. And there's a video.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, I need that clip.
Yeah, I'm gonna post it in chat, but definitely go and check it out. I just fucking love Lin-Manuel, man. He's
Speaking
awesome.
of like, this is an old one for those who've been on the internet for a long time. Did you guys ever see the Star Wars gangster rap?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yes.
That is easily one of my favorites.
The way I will just randomly break out and be like, we got Death Star. People have no idea what I'm talking about.
We got Death Star. And what was was that the one where Yoda was like, no, that was the other one that came out much sooner, more recently, where it's like, seagulls be pecking at my head. It's like someone singing as Yoda. Now I'm stuck in my head. Oh, Uncle Owen, I gotta go to the hot station for a power converter. You always treating me like a scruffy nerf herder. That was how it started, I think. Star Wars Gangster Rap.
Here's the one thing I have a complaint about. Is that scene just now with all that blaster fire and the silo bursting open and all that grain coming out and no explosion from the grain dust in the air. Grain dust is extremely explosive.
Grain, though.
Listen, it's Star Wars grain. Okay.
I just think they missed the perfect opportunity to make things go boom.
Do you know their laws of physics might not be our laws of physics? We don't know.
Okay, I just posted in chat the link to the Lin-Manuel thing. Go check it out when we're done with this episode.
Will you put it in the private chat too, Tom?
Yeah.
I am
really freaking funny.
Like, yeah. Obsessed.
I also just love Lin-Manuel. So anything
that's where my son's name came from. Like he's half of what we consume in this household was written by him. Like Moana up on the list and Kanto up on the top of the list. My son's list. Also history.
God. So Andor has now lost essentially 2 father figures.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he finds out Luthen is dead, it's going to be interesting because that's obviously going to happen. Because they're not alive. Everyone that was the thing about Rogue One and Andor. Everyone's going to die. Like that's like what we've known since before they even made Rogue One. But you know, having seen Rogue One, we know everyone does.
By the way,
Maybe,
Tom, I don't know if I've told you.
Hold on. Do I still have the clip? Hold on. Let me see if I still have the clip uploaded.
Hicks is my barrel lane.
Oh, no,
Oh, yeah.
My,
We
my,
talked
my,
about
my
that.
head cavity.
Oh, no, I don't have the clip with the death. Oh no, here it is. Because that's how Rogue One ends. And we know when the Death Star shows up, it's not going to be a good day for anybody.
Man, that is an awesome outfit pairing.
Oh yeah, Space Techno is fantastic. All of the music has been great in Star Wars. I gotta say that. Even the old school Cantina music was great.
Jedi Rocks is the only bad Star Wars song.
I don't remember that
I don't
one.
know what that is. Yeah.
I even like the Weird Al song.
That's the song that's sung at Jabba's palace in their special edition of Return of the Jedi, the current version.
The one with the weird alien with the long snout with the red lips at the end of it.
Yeah, but see, the original, she was a puppet. This is an animated version of her.
Yeah.
And it's got some other character who dances around the stage and sings at the camera. It's just,
So the
I love how they do this scene, where like the dance music is playing where everybody is grieving inside of the ship.
Yeah, everyone's all like depressed and shit. Yeah. The cinematography and the scenes like this, just like the direct look at her, especially with this music playing. Oh God. It's chaos. That's what it is.
It's a rave.
Controlled
and then
chaos.
Cassian here to me looks so frustrated in this picture.
That's what compartmentalizing looks like, by the way.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing right now.
And then I want to compartmentalize like Mon does. Like, I'm just going to get drunk and party.
Yep. I think her character has been the most interesting for me in this series because she's juggling being a mom, being a wife to that douchebag Perrin, being a senator, and being the secret leader of the rebellion.
Yeah. And realizing that she can't juggle them all properly, like you saw last season, like her and her daughter. I mean, outside of teenagering, there's clearly a disconnect because she can't be as focused on her. And then in this episode in particular, when she tries to talk to her, like, hey, child marriage sucks. Maybe you shouldn't do this. Her daughter's like, almost beyond, being the way she is. It's almost like she's like, why are you trying to mom me now? Like, no, like I'm going to do this, So, and I felt it in Mon's face where she's just kind of like, where do you even start? What do I even do? And she just kind of resigns and it's like, okay, I'll put on the stuff and I'll just trot out my daughter for this horrible thing that she's going to end up hating. But
yeah.
So did you also pick up the
like I hate to just use the word allegory again, but like the reference using her daughter and like this more traditional thing that she's trying to get back into is like a reference to like the younger generation now kind of getting back into religion again, but like the more like evangelical religion and like even the younger generations, like the 18, 19, 20, 21 year olds, they're kind of like, especially those younger age males are like being more like you see the trad wife hashtag and stuff popping up in the younger and younger audience TikToks and videos like that. They're targeting those kids, and I feel like that was kind of what her daughter was kind of doing because it's semi-religious, so and like it's an arranged marriage. You can kind of put that into a lot of boxes in our world, and that was like the feeling that it gave me when I was watching it, at least.
Yeah, no, I was looking at that, and I was saying before we were talking about this, I think before you joined, that I think it's also the reason it's appealing is because the sense of stability. Like it feels like a step backwards in many ways, but there's rules, it's defined, everyone knows where their place is supposed to be. It feels secure, and this
gives them a purpose.
I can say that I'm not Gen Z, so I've got a few advantages to being my age, and that, you know, for example, like I have tenure in my career. I've got a little bit more security in some ways. But if I was a Gen Z right now, with the between the flood of information they're getting from social media and internet that we didn't have to deal with growing up, to
God, thank God.
just having absolute circuses globally in different ways, and not knowing, literally, like, most of these kids have no real security that there's going to be a future in 20 years. And that's not something we grew up with. So I can understand how they're just kind of like, in all this chaos, it's like, oh, here's this thing that seems really simple. Here's some rules. It seems secure. It's very easy for me to follow. I don't actually have to think or worry. And, you know, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll throw myself into that. And it just kind of feels, you know, a little bit more formalized. And that's kind of the lie that's being thrown to them for a lot of these propagandas of this is going to make it perfect. And it's like, even if you have belief, this is not to crap on belief at all. If you have belief systems, that's great, but it's just, it doesn't absolve you from world problems. It doesn't stop craziness from happening. It does, for some people, give them a better way to cope. But I think
as long
that's
as
really
you're
what
not,
it is.
as long as people aren't imposing their beliefs on other people who don't want them, I don't care about what anyone does. But the interesting point with her specifically versus like what's going on now is that she chose it, where a lot of the younger generation now, they're kind of being pipelined into it through the algorithms of their social media. You know, it starts with just, I'm watching a Minecraft video, and then all of a sudden Andrew Tate is on the Minecraft video with the Minecraft YouTuber, and now they're watching Joe Rogan, and then it goes down the rabbit hole of that.
It's just a different medium, though. I mean, in the past, it was your parents and your community, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a more ways, I guess, is I guess the difference is that there's more avenues. Oh, just move your kids to an internet-free commune.
Oh God, yeah. On the flip side, there's a lot of opportunity to go the other way too, which is nice. So, you know, exposure to more information it's not always good and it's not always bad. It just needs to be coupled with education to be able to spot, critical thinking and being able to spot disinformation and truth. And
the other important aspect there is it has to be accurate information.
Yeah. It's up to the viewer to kind of discern it. And sadly, our education system isn't the greatest in teaching us how to critically think and
unfortunately.
Okay.
But if somebody's looking to teach somebody critical thinking, they've got a lot of good sites like that. Sites, channels that teach that on YouTube, especially. Like Crash Course had a big thing on that one. I remember watching that a couple years ago.
I want to go, Rapunzel, please.
Rapunzel, I'll send you. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yes. I'll build my little hut, Animal Crossing style, on the beach.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're a nerd and you haven't or talked about having a commune or an island or a compound or something with all of your nerd friends at some point, I don't think that's possible. Honestly, I don't think that's possible.
Are you even a nerd?
Yeah. Like, oh God. My wife and I were seriously, like, on the drive home today, we're like maybe we should move to Europe. Like, we were like, can we afford to? Is it if we sell everything, maybe we can move? But then it's like, then I feel guilty because I'm like, no, man, I don't want to run away. I want to fucking fight.
I know.
I don't know. It's
I
tough.
don't even know what to tell you guys. I'm in Canada and I'm feeling like it's still a little too close.
We just saw. Oh, actually, this is a perfect opportunity to share some more fun Wheel of Time information too. So we were, as I said, we were at Disney, and we were seeing two of our friends from Ontario, Canada, that we haven't seen in like 10 years since our wedding. They came to our wedding, and funny enough, our Wheel of Time people will recognize this name. In the books, there's a lot of characters that are based on real people, and one of them is Aziel Thone. So he's a young Two Rivers guy, like he's in his 20s or whatever. And toward the end of the series, when Perrin gets like a, how you watched season 3 though, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the Battle of the Two Rivers happens. And after that happens, Perrin kind of becomes like the de facto leader of like the Two Rivers contingent that kind of goes throughout the rest of the story. Like there's always like a group of like a battalion of Two Rivers men and women that are with him. And it's usually Perrin and Rand's dad and Matt's dad, and then like a group of Two Rivers bowmen. They're always there. And one of them is Aziel Thone. And he's based on a friend of mine who, that's the guy, one of my friends that we saw at Disney. His name is Anthony Aziz, and that's where he came from. So the character that's based on me, that's in A Memory of Light, when Brandon asked me questions about, like, you know, to map out the character as he was doing it, I told him, hey, you remember Aziel Thone? And he's like, yeah, Anthony, I remember, you know, when I did his thing and I put him in the books. I was like, yeah, I'm really good friends with him. And he kind of always lords it over me that he has a character in the books and that he gets to hang out with Perrin. So like, I just thought it was funny. Like, he didn't tell me how he was going to use my character, but I was like, if, you know, there's any way you can make us like poke fun at each other or be friends or something, that would be funny. So, no spoiler for who my character is or anything like that. He's not into the literally the last book, but he pops up in the beginning and then he pops up at the end again with Aziel Thone. And he put us together for that specific reason. And he makes Azzy make fun of my character, which is perfectly in character for us, which was funny.
Nice.
Yeah.
Canadian connections coming through.
Yeah. They're in Ontario, just north of Detroit.
Yeah, I lived in Toronto for a couple of years, which is in that area, but now I'm way over on the west side, so enough of those East Coast people.
That's fair. I can agree with that for the entire East Coast of down here as well.
Yeah. One of my favorite. Sorry, I was gonna say one of my favorite places in Canada is Vancouver Island. Like,
it's beautiful.
It's so pretty up there. I have a friend who lives in Nanaimo, there, and it's gorgeous.
With the home of the Nanaimo bars. I mean, you guys watched The Last of Us, right?
Oh, yeah.
TV show.
Yeah.
Where they filmed that
we did Last of Us season 1 on this show.
I want to do season 2, people.
It'll be on the list. It'll be on the list.
Yeah, where they film it, like I was in Melbourne at the time, so I missed it. But where they filmed the office, the building where I work now, is the city scenes. That's where they filmed that, and then most of it was filmed about 2 hours north of where I live. So this is the province I live in. So all those mountains, all that stuff is like,
oh, wow.
The mountains are 45 minutes from where I live. So yeah, it's kind of nice advertising for my province. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty much the only thing about this place that's cool is the mountains. The rest is just farmland and weird people. But yeah, it's kind of cool to have that happen. Legends of the Fall, that movie was filmed up in the same area too.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't heard the name Legends of the Fall or seen that movie in forever.
That was just a big deal here because, you know, up here we've got no one comes where I live. Like, so when Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were showing up at a mall, people were like,
I could see that.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things that we've started doing at the end of our shows is we like to throw it back to our guest and put our guest back up in front of the camera and make them the focus again. So basically in the beginning, we're like, hey, look at our guest. They're here. And then we watch the show and then it's like, hey, remember this guest? Go and follow them and like their stuff and watch their stuff. So the fun way we've been doing that is with a interview that we themed for after Inside the Actor Studio with James Lipton, which if you haven't seen it, Google it, watch some episodes. They're fantastic. But we kind of made our own little fun little versions of the questions for you to answer. So are you ready to do that?
All right.
Yeah.
Throw me
Okay.
Coach.
All right.
You got it.
We're super professional here. So I made a little thing. Hold on.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much. I drew all of that myself freehand.
He was humming. The music was him too.
Yep, I was. I'm vocally gifted. Well, thank you for coming. Let's. Do you want to start us off?
Yeah,
Crystal?
I'll start. Hard-hitting question first. What is your favorite dinosaur?
That would be the Brontosaurus. Why? Tall, super long neck. Just yeah, tall for no reason. Like I'm quite tall myself. I used to be the tallest person around, so I identified that. I'm like, what does it do? It eats treetops. Does it attack anything? No. Again, another fun fact about the province I live in. There's an area there of Badlands where there's a ton of dinosaur bones they found. So this season of Last of Us, if you haven't watched this recent episode, they filmed it in that museum. So I've seen dinosaurs a lot growing up because that's nearby. But yes, I saw the Brontosaurus and they've got pieces of that and a full T-Rex in there. Anyway.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. So I was like, Brontosaurus, I like it. Small head, long neck, tall for no reason. That'd be my pet.
Small aside. Sometimes the museums name the bones. Do they name the ones in the museum by you? Do you know?
You know, though I don't remember. Last time I was there was over 10 years ago.
Okay,
but yeah, I don't think I don't know if it went to that level, but I was more enamored with the way they put them all together. And
oh yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, I grew up in Manhattan. I grew up next to Manhattan, so I used to go to the Museum of Natural History all the time. So yeah, no, I love the dinosaur bone exhibit was definitely my favorite. No, actually, no, it was my second favorite. I've always been enamored by Egyptian stuff and like all of the Egyptian. Which was actually in the Met and not the Museum of Natural History, but they had like a whole temple that they moved stone by stone to the Met, and it was really cool. Anyway, what is your favorite word?
my favorite word. Even though it's not really like, I like crikey a lot. I think I heard it like in a cartoon when I was a little young, and I'd be like, crikey. Such a good word.
Crikey. No, it is a good word. That is good.
That's really gonna throw some people off when you just like something happens. You're like, oh, crikey.
Crikey.
I'm gonna try to use that one. What is your least favorite word?
Again, rather random, but gonads. I don't know. Something about that word always just feels wrong. I know it's very clinical, but I remember even hearing it in science class and being like, can we call it anything but that? But yeah, I don't know. Something about the word just, or the abbreviation NADS. Like, no. Just,
yeah. Nah.
That's fair. That's entirely fair. Okay. What? All right. I always forget this one. I'm going to remember it this time in the right spot. What is your favorite curse word? And or if you don't want to tell us if you don't want to say the curse word, which I understand. Fantasy or science fiction replacement curse word?
I would say I really like the British version of shit, so shite. Just something really, it's so fun to say. It's just like, this is pure shite, right? Yeah. Like that just sounds better. But fantasy, agreed. we gotta use Battlestar Galactica frack.
Yeah. That might be our most popular. Have we tallied that?
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites because I mean, like growing up in New York and a construction worker, I mean, like it takes effort being on here to mitigate my fucks. So don't worry about it. I understand.
Gosh, we should play a drinking game some night with that.
Oh, if I curse, like take it. Oh my God, I will be drunk in minutes.
Alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
So what is an everyday sound that you love?
Everyday sound. I'm a big fan of birds chirping. I didn't realize how much I missed it. Like, so I mean, I get some around where I live, but because most places, like I live in a newer area, so they've cut down all the trees, of course, to build, and then they plant them back. But it takes a while for the tree. But anyways, I was visiting my mom last weekend, and she lives in a much more mature neighborhood with a neighbor with a bird feeder. So anyways, just waking up and hearing all the birds chirping, I was just like, oh, that's so nice. I didn't realize how much I missed that. But it's very, I don't know, just feels like the world's right when the birds are chirping. It's dead silence. It just kind of feels like, oh, it's just air or traffic.
It's fair. I go both ways with that because like I said, I grew up outside of the Manhattan, so like I can fall asleep perfectly fine with cars driving right by the house and people outside talking. But since we moved here, like at night especially, there's just all you can hear is like frogs and and owls and shit. And I like the sound of nature too. Birds, especially too, in the morning are gorgeous.
Yes, my family is from Jamaica. My aunt, she lives like on a farm, and she's got the crickets. You know, as soon as the sun goes down, which is nice, you just hear them chirp, and it's such a nice lullaby.
That reminds me when I grabbed your Instagram thing. It was either I don't remember which source. I think it was Instagram where it said Jamaican beef patties in your or beef patties in your thing, and I was like, yes, girl. Oh my god, that I can't tell you. And it's so funny too, because I used to get them at the bodega all the time, which is funny. And it wasn't even a Jamaican family that owned that bodega, but they had the best Jamaican beef patties, like, because they used to make them fresh and they were the perfect level of spicy. Oh god, the jerk with jerk chicken in it, just so good. Or goat. I liked the goat more.
Curry goat is Jamaican curry goat, my personal plug. But if you're in Tampa,
yeah.
I only know places in Orlando because that's where my brother lives, but there's some really good Jamaican places in that area. But
if you ever come down to Orlando, let me know.
Indeed.
And you want to get together. If you don't, I perfectly understand. But
oh no, I'm just trying not to get held at the border. We'll see how it goes.
That's fair. Yeah. That is entirely fair. You might want to wait a couple years, or hopefully somebody dies and in office and dies tomorrow.
I'm really counting on that the Annabelle doll. That's what I'm putting all my money into right now.
Please and thank you. Was it your turn or my turn? Sorry.
You know, I think it's my turn.
Okay.
What is an everyday sound that you hate?
Everyday sound that I hate. Probably the notification that I have to go into a Teams meeting.
Thank you. I felt that in my like sub like area, like right here. I felt that a little bit. Like a little. It
but
felt
outside
like indigestion.
of that, yeah, that's like a work. But I'd say honestly, outside of that, this is maybe it's random. The sound. I don't know if you've ever heard some people like when they brush their teeth, they feel the need to start like coughing up all their phlegm.
Oh,
I don't know if that sound will just cause shudders down my entire spine. I despise that sound. Like if you have to do that, turn the fan on, run all the pipe. I don't want to.
Yep. I am like auditory things can give me like physical reactions, like give me the ick in a way that nothing else can. And yeah, those like, or like the snort. Oh, that one gets me. The like,
Oh yeah, when they, I know what you're saying.
Yep, not gonna do it.
Blow your nose, please. For the love of God.
Okay. Now, if you don't currently have one, but if you currently have one, what was your first fictional crush, and do you currently have a fictional crush, or have you like recently?
First fictional crush was probably Alex. Karate Kid's my favorite movie ever, so I really liked Daniel LaRusso. I watched that movie entirely too many times. But then I also tend to really like villains for some reason as well. So I'm trying to think of one of the first ones. From The Lion King, I was kind of about Scar.
I get it. I get it. Don't.
I'm sorry. Like, of course, Mufasa dying, awful, terrible, bad Scar, but
listen, his eyebrows are on point though, and he's got some.
But you know what it is? Wit has always been very attractive to me. Like I was saying earlier to Glenn, that like I like C-3PO because he has like that snappy British humor, and it's the same thing with Scar. Like when Simba, like, this line is always so clear to me when Simba comes in, he's all excited about being a kid, and he's like, "Oh, forgive me for not leaping for joy, bad back." I'm like, I love you.
First of all, that was a great impression. First of all. But yes, and they did my boy Scar so dirty in the live action movie. They cut out the best song. Hit the Scar. What was the name of it?
Oh,
it's the tagline of the song.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. Yeah, I was like, that's the only song they cut in that movie, and it was the best one. Ugh. All right.
Probably because Jeremy Irons refused to come back and sing it.
That's fair. I mean, Jeremy Irons. Yeah. Anyway. you're up.
But yeah, that's probably it. Currently, I wouldn't say there's two. Although, I have to say, in the Star Wars realm of things, I really liked from the Acolyte. Can't remember his name right now, but the bad guy.
Oh
What's his
yeah, I forgot his name. Manny Jacinto is his name.
Yes,
is
Manny
the actor's
Jacinto's
name.
character. Anyways, I loved how he played both characters. I liked them both.
Yeah,
Nice.
he like only having seen him in The Good Place, I was a little apprehensive, but man, was he great as both versions of that character. Like,
Exactly.
so good. I liked when he was fully himself with his helmet off too. When they actually started fighting, when he had his helmet off and had to just be himself. That was really good. All right, anyway.
So to stay in the Star Wars realm, which Andor character would make the very best roommate and why?
Best roommate would actually probably be Cyril, because his OCD would mean he'd keep things very clean and orderly. Like, you would have some trouble if you dare move things, but if you could kind of figure out, or at least let him have his space, you never have to worry about him making a mess of other things, because he can't handle it. So, and for the most part, non-confrontational.
Fair.
So that's a good roommate, I think.
Okay. And who would you choose as the worst roommate from Andor?
It's a tie between Luthen, because he'd be super needy and expect you to do everything for him. And probably Dedra, just because I feel like you'd wake up and she'd just be staring at you while you slept and not saying anything. She wouldn't even apologize. She'd just, see you looking at her and just slowly back into the darkness and stuff. So I just feel like I would never feel fully safe.
I could see her come marching into your room too and being like, "You didn't fill out the chore spreadsheet."
Exactly.
All right. So if you had the opportunity to assume any job or align with any vocation in any realm of fiction, so like books, movies, video games, do you want to be a Jedi, an Aes Sedai? What would you want to be?
I think I would want to be Wesley's wife in The Princess Bride. I just want someone to bring me things all the time, and all I have to do is just tell someone to get me things. And that's it. Like, her life before she was swept up by Humperdinck was pretty sweet from the looks of things. So I'm like, yeah, just put me in a nice peaceful farm somewhere with someone who does all the work.
We need to see a Buttercup cosplay from you now. If you go to any of the conventions that our communities frequent, we need a Buttercup cosplay now, I feel like.
I think we can make that happen. Definitely has to be. It's pretty simple costume. She's basically a peasant, but I mean, Robin Wright, though, gorgeous. She makes everything.
Aren't we all?
Regal.
Aren't we all? Peasants, I mean.
We're all Robin Wright. I'll take it.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, y'all are gorgeous. I'm disgusting right now. I need to shower so bad. Stop it. Is it my turn or is it your turn? I'm lost.
Yours.
Mine. Okay. So this is the deepest question we have. And the last one. If you had to pick any afterlife or sequence events, whatever it may be, that happens to you when you die, from any realm of fiction, like she said before, video games, TVs, comic books, movies, books, whatever you want, what would you hope to be true for you when it's your time? This is the tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was actually what was the name of the show that I just watched the other day, and I thought it was a very interesting take. Oh goodness. The premise is basically that it was the one with Jeff Goldblum where he was a Greek god that recently on Netflix.
Oh yeah. And they canceled it too because they're douches.
Exactly. But yeah, the idea of how they did the afterlife there, that you come through and then you go through a gate and then there's jobs potentially that you do to help facilitate things in the afterlife. I kind of like the idea of that because maybe because as a human, I can't picture not doing anything. So the idea of like sitting on a cloud and playing a harp is like, I think I get bored after an eternity. But
listen,
yeah,
an
that
eternity
idea
of
of
anything is a long time.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos with a
chaos,
K.
yes. So I kind of like that idea that you're kind of have like potentially have this place where if you're not gonna go back into the, well, I mean, if you want to use another reference of the wheel of time and get another spin, then
Ooh.
you stay there and you have a job where either it's to take care of people who have, you know, unfinished business or whatever the case may be, and then you could potentially feel like you've got a purpose even after you've lived your earthly purpose. So I was like,
Cool.
that's kind of a cool idea. I like that that concept of how they perceived Greek mythology's side of death. I don't think it's ever been that specific, but it was an interesting take.
That's fair. That's another there's another actor there that, oh god, I love everything he does. Jeff Goldblum is just magic. Even though he's pretty much Jeff Goldblum and everything, it really doesn't matter. Like it's believable. Every character he's ever played is just it's
likable. It's like Christopher Lloyd. Like, I don't need you to act, bro. You're just funny as yourself. Like, just
100%.
exist in a movie. I'm fine.
100%. Okay, let's bring our friend Glenn back in now. Hello, Glenford. You're muted, buddy.
Oop, there we go. Hello.
There you go.
I always love listening to people answer those questions.
Yeah, I love hearing everyone's answers. They're a ton of fun. And we started changing the theme of the roommate question to be our current show. So
it's so long since I answered. It was still in all of fantasy or science fiction. So
yeah. We narrowed it. We spread it out a little bit. Kind of made it so like we focus on the show a little bit, then we go to whatever you want.
Yeah.
Well. What are you doing next? Where can people find your next thing that you're doing? For
me, still just finishing up. I still have to finish up Andor for my reactions on my channel. Just because, it's 3 episodes at a time was a lot to keep up with some of the other stuff that I'm doing. But just finishing that, continuing to look for cool things to look into next. You can check me out on my channel. I'm looking for some new things to watch that are live action. I've got a lot of anime at the moment, but that's because we're kind of on a weird hiatus TV wise. But just kind of still working on that. And earlier you missed it, but I am trying to teach myself to stream. So because I do play video games. I
told her that you might help her do that.
Absolutely.
I
100%. Yes.
So I'm hoping to start doing that and getting out there and streaming. I'm not too hardcore. It's more RPGs and cozy stuff. But I'd love to start doing that.
That's right up. That's right up my alley. What are you playing right now?
Oh gosh, there's a bunch of Steam games that I'm playing right now that are on the cozy side of things. But just forever played WoW. I'm looking into possibly starting that newest one everyone's talking about, something 33.
Expedition 33.
Thank you. Because it looks like it's RPG, kind of up my alley. Hopefully not too hard.
RPG. Yeah. It's like an old school JRPG if you played any of those.
Yes. So now that I have it, because I just bought a PC, I was saying that a proper PC. I've had laptops for ages. So now I'm like, now I can actually, attempt to play some of these RPGs that are not going to make my computer die. Or at least start breathing so hard that it's going to want to die. So cool. So I'm definitely open to trying some things. I'm not great. That's why I like RPGs. I'm more about the adventure and having fun over the getting the highest stats. And I can't play FPS because they make me nauseous, but
I can't do them either.
It's the chats that make me nauseous in the FPSs, but I get it.
Fair enough. So that's me. Basically more reactions and hopefully some gaming stuff coming soon.
Cool. All right. Well, I shared your YouTubes in the channel, so make sure to go and give her a follow and comments and subscribes and hit the notification bell for her channel. And in the description of this video is links to her social medias as well. Make sure to give her a follow and shout out and all that stuff. And I think that's all we have. Oh no, wait. What else? I forgot to share who our guest is next week.
Next week.
Yes.
Next week.
So we're going to be watching episode 4, which it has a weird, what is it? It's a long name. It says it in the thing. There it is. ever been to Gorman.
Gorman.
And my sister from another Mr. Beth Doman will be there. And a very dear friend who is, yes, he is an author, Darren Bush, but he is also he's on staff for the science fiction track, I believe, at Dragon Con. And he's also on the programming staff for Multiverse Con and Monsterama too, which is another Atlanta area convention. If anyone's in the Atlanta area, all three of those conventions are Atlanta area: Multiverse Con, Monsterama, and obviously Dragon Con. I mean, everyone knows Dragon Con. That's 90,000 people were at it last year.
Wow.
But we're going to be hanging out with them next week, and that's going to be a ton of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. If you haven't already, make sure to go give Glenn, the geeky hippie, over at Watt the Adaptation a follow too, because we love Glenn and Max and Matt Stagger, aka Bill. So make sure to go give them a follow too.
Thank you.
Yeah, what are you?
We're covering Murderbot right now. We're doing
cool.
Murderbot
Awesome.
series from Apple TV Plus based on the Murderbot Diaries.
Yeah.
And we gushed over it the first two episodes. So, but we're going to be having Roof Mistress Leia from Malkier Talks' threefold talk on most of the season, and Jim from Fantasy for the Ages will be a guest most of the season too.
Awesome.
So,
Nice. I've been thinking of checking that out purely for Alex Skarsgård, but if it's actually good, that's a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised
I
at
love that
how
man.
good it was.
So beautiful.
Oh God. All right. Well, I love all of you awesome nerds. We will see you next week. Say goodnight, Crystal.
Good night, Crystal.